Hello everyone, it's Jamarl Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. I hope everyone is doing okay today. Shout out to Steve and Carl for a great interview earlier. And I'm sorry, I always check this just to make sure. I have a persistent fear that I'm going to do the greatest show in the history of shows, and then the only person who's going to hear it is me. And nobody's going to believe me after I said it's going to be the greatest show ever. So what I want to talk about is, how do I want to start this? Back during the 2016 primary, the primary that just doesn't die, which should tell you something about the intensity of the primary, something basic. And I know people may disagree with the extent, but I think something basic can be agreed upon. An institution that was supposed to be impartial. An institution that was supposed to be impartial. It's not what I say, it's what they say. They say they're supposed to be impartial. And that institution that is running elections, they're not running elections, but the institution itself that's you can say creating the structure for it. But that institution that's supposed to be impartial is not impartial. They're anything but. That is discovered. Now, after that's discovered, brave lawyers make the point of, well, wait a minute. You had people who were donating to Bernie Sanders thinking this process was impartial. And even based on Donna Brazil's own testimony, it was anything but impartial. Now, you can say to the degree to which it was not impartial, but let's at the very least be honest about it and say it was impartial. It wasn't impartial. So if it wasn't indeed impartial, and if I'm donating money to a candidate, and that candidate is being cheated, and you're lying to me, it's like you're grabbing my ass with a straight face, then they're not wrong for saying you've defrauded me. Like, I gave my money to something that I thought was on the up and up. You continuously told me it was impartial. Every time somebody came up with something that says, hey, maybe there's a problem here, you say, oh, you guys are sore losers. There's nothing to see here, folks, until there was absolutely everything to see. The point I'm making here is clear. It's fraud. On its face, it's fraud. Now, Elizabeth Beck and Jared Beck took the DNC to court with under this idea of, well, wait a minute, people gave to Sanders $220 million thing. It was a fair contest. It wasn't a fair contest. And if it wasn't a fair contest, they gave that money under false pretenses, particularly when you were consistently saying it was impartial. So what do we do about this? Now, Jared Beck has tried to use the judicial apparatus as a way to try to mitigate what all of these people have felt as being defrauded, of being cheated. The space not being able to get a political solution, Jared Beck went through the instrument he knew how to play, a legal instrument. This case got an appeal, and the date of appeal was on, I believe, the 25th of September. Let me see. Now, I want to make sure my dates is right. All right, yeah, September 25th, good. There's been a hiccup in this, and I'm going to let Elizabeth shout out to Disobedient Media first. She did an amazing article on this, and I've referenced the article in the bottom. But I'm going to let cranky lawyer Jared Beck explain this herself on Periscope. Let me see. This.
There's been some new developments, and I wanted to give out an update, especially since somebody asked for it. So the issue is very simple. Oral argument, the court hearing was set for September 25 in the DNC fraud lawsuit appeal. And it was assigned to that date for months. Less than 2 weeks before the hearing is supposed to happen, One of our 3 judges recused herself. And what that means is this judge, for reasons that are unknown to us, decided that she is not fit to hear this appeal. It could be for any reason. Generally, it is for some conflict of interest, but we don't know what the reason is. So, in every recusal that has happened in my federal cases, the identity of the judge recusing him or herself was disclosed to the public. In the DNC fraud lawsuit appeal, when the recusal order came down, the identity of this 3rd judge was hidden. Now, the other 2 judges are Judges Hull and Carnes. All the judges on the 11th Circuit Court of Federal Appeals are listed on their website, and I shared the link to the court's website in the information part of this, in the written information part of this live stream. So I called the clerk's office to just find out the identity of the 3rd judge, which shouldn't be an issue, right? Well, the clerk told me that she is actually not allowed to tell me this information. The 3rd judge who recused herself from the appeal. And when I asked the clerk, can you please direct me to the court rule, any court rule that supports the court's contention that they are authorized to hide the identity of a judge who was sitting on a case, because she was sitting on our case, I was directed to Local Rule 34-2. And the clerk and I read it together, and by golly, I cannot see anything in this rule that talks about how the identity of a judge will be hidden. So we concluded, by the way, the clerk was very nice. We concluded the call by saying that she's actually waiting on the judge who recused herself to give her permission to call me back and let me know what her identity is. So it is actually apparently, it is up to this judge who recused herself to decide whether or not she is going to disclose her identity. Now, she was sitting on this case. I am a lawyer for this case, and I still don't know who she is. So I would like to know who my former judge was. It's very simple, isn't it? So I am waiting on the 11th Circuit Court of Federal Appeals to kindly call me back and let me know who our former judge was. Thank you very much.
I have to be honest. I don't quite know why that matters. I mean, yes, I want to know who the judge is, and I'm going to tell you who the judge is. It's interesting to know because it's odd that somebody would just recuse themselves, at the last minute like this. It's like, oh, at the last minute, I'm now recusing myself from the case. But I can tell you who the judge is now. So the judge, Honorable Robin S. Rosenbaum, who has served on the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals since 2014, is apparently a member of the Quill and Dagger Collegiate Secret Society. That's interesting and odd. So I just want to make one point. This case has been for months. Like, they've known that this case was going to go on for months. I remember when I first came up with this thing of, oh, wow, they're getting an appeal. That was months ago. I'm sorry, there's like a mosquito here. And she waits to the last minute within a few days to say, oh, yeah, I have a massive conflict of interest here. I need to recuse myself. So in a nutshell, one of the judges, Rosenbaum, recused himself from the DNC fraud lawsuit. I don't necessarily know if she gave her reasons, but like she said, usually that's some kind of conflict of interest. It's amazing she didn't know that she had a conflict of interest until like a few days before the trial. So there's that. If there's anything else that comes up, I'll let you guys know. But right now, that's all we got. That's all we got. Mrs. Tree, Jamarl, can't help but think the little box being checked on the Burnmeister's fund site asking, would you like to donate such and such to the DNC? Imagine the millions of pennies. For fuck's sake. For fuck's sake, indeed. For fuck's sake, indeed. I feel you, man. Aw, the pink slope. What is that? The pink shoe? I always look forward to your videos. Always very informative. Aw, thank you. Thank you. Not always, but thank you. I appreciate it. So get another judge. It doesn't start until Tuesday. I was thinking the same thing, Trudy. I was like, don't these judges grow on trees? And I know they don't grow on trees. But I was like, certainly there has to be a judge somewhere. Certainly. Come on. All right. I'm going to end this one because I was actually good and decent and didn't keep this one all that long. And I have a few more that I want to do. It's 1 a.m. here. I've been running full till, essentially having full days and then having full nights doing the show. So I am probably going to, I might turn in a little bit tonight. But I still have a few shows that I need to get through. So I will see you guys shortly. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through Patreon. Super Chat's back on now also, and the channel has been fully monetized. So, that's that. All right, guys. Have a good one.